Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dylan Ettinger, and I'm coming at you live from the President's Lounge for another episode of Hot Seat Economics.
Comcast and General Electric proposed the merger between Comcast Entertainment Group and GE's NBC Universal on December 3, 2009. Comcast would be the manager of the new NBCU, owning 51%, while General Electric owned 49%. The deal would be considered a vertical merge between the distributor, Comcast, and the provider, General Electric. Here is some background information. In September of 2010, Comcast had 22.9 million cable customers, 16.7 million internet customers, and 8.4 million voice customers. The old NBCU was created in 2004 and GE took full ownership in 2009. NBCU had 4 different areas: a television group, a film group, a digital media group, and a parks and resorts group. The merger had to be approved by both the Department of Justice and the Federal Communications Commission. The Department of Justice was involved with making sure the merger abided by the antitrust laws, specifically the Clayton Antitrust Act of 1914, which prohibited any merger that substantially lessened competition or created a monopoly. The FCC was looking at the merger from a public interest perspective that included diversity and localism.
Hi, I'm Rory Houston,
Hi, I'm Joe Rosenella.
and we are in favor of the merger.
I'm Sean Heslin,
I'm Mike Clemens.
and we're against the merger.
I don't even know why this is a question. This is what the buyers want. We all know that the video and television industry is advancing at an incredible rate, and this is exactly what the industry needs. This merge will be able to change the entire way people watch television. The arrival of anytime, anywhere video programming is on the horizon. This will not only benefit customers, it'll spur competition.
Letting the largest cable operator in history to obtain one of the nation's top video producers will change the market for media companies. The merger will give consumers less choices, which is the opposite of what they want. By letting 2 of the largest media companies join forces, they have the ability to have a greater control on price and quality.
But you're missing the facts. This is going to be a vertical merge, which means that it's 2 companies that do completely different things coming together to create one product. NBCU needs a way to distribute its content, and with this merger, Comcast will become its distributor. In no way will it limit its choices. If anything, consumers will have more choices than ever before with a behemoth like Comcast backing the creation of new content.
This merger between Comcast and NBC is unlike any other in the history of the video marketplace. This merger is a big deal. If this deal goes through, we would be allowing the largest cable operator in history to take over the nation's best video content producers. Clearly, this is going to have an effect on the market. Consumers will definitely be affected. These 2 companies are 2 of the biggest players in the current market, and by allowing them to combine, will give them the ability to take advantage of the worst aspects of the video market. Not only this, but they will be able to extend them into the future market.
Mergers such as these have already been recognized and approved by the FCC. Vertical combinations are proven to not have any threat on competition. Anyway, we'll move on. 6 out of every 7 channels will have no affiliation with either Comcast or NBC. About 85% of channels would be completely independent from either company.
It's not just independence either, it's revenue. At least that's what the uneducated skeptics are saying. But with this merger, only about 12% of overall cable network advertising and affiliate revenues will belong to NBCU. This includes all the different stations and channels under the NBCU name. 12% is an extremely low number. It puts Comcast and NBCU nowhere near close to achieving a monopoly.
You guys both say that this is a vertical merger. Although this may be true, the effects of this merger will still ultimately have an effect on horizontal competition. This merger will do many things, one of which is the fact that it will allow Comcast and give them the incentive to raise prices for consumers. Not only this, but Comcast will be able to block competitive entry for other cable providers. To me, this sounds like a monopoly.
Comcast is the nation's largest cable operator, largest broadband service protector, and one of the leading networks for providing regional cable sports and news. NBC is a major national broadcasting network, one of the largest owners of local TV stations, and they own Universal, a major movie studio. These 2 companies are world-renowned and are iconic companies in American media. Clearly, if these two companies merge, they'll have a huge stock in the market. This allows them to have more control than ever before. The merge could also force other companies out of the market, which would cause the media market to become closer and closer to a monopoly.
Interesting points so far from both sides. We're going to commercial, but we will be right back with a continued debate of the Comcast and NBCU potential merger.
So what will bringing Comcast and NBC Universal together really mean for you? It'll mean more shows and movies the way you want, like movies on demand the same day they come out on DVD, more episodes of your favorite TV shows, anytime, anywhere, and more new ways to interact with your TV, computer, even mobile devices. Innovation, competition, and better choices for customers everywhere. Comcast and NBC Universal, the future of media and entertainment.
Comcast brought millions of people closer to NBC Universal's coverage of the biggest Olympic Winter Games ever, with the most coverage of the most events on every device, and the most hours of streaming video on the NBC Sports Live Extra app, including the X1 platform from Xfinity. Comcast was honored to bring every minute of every medal of NBC Universal's coverage to every screen. So what's next? Rio 2016. Welcome to What's Next, Comcast NBC Universal.
And we're back with the Comcast NBCU debate. Let's lead off with the agreeing side of the merger. Rory?
Thanks, Dylan. I'll start back up by saying these companies have the consumer's interest first. They're pushing for this merge with the intention of improving the television industry for the buyer. These are two very reputable companies.
Rory, that is where you are wrong. You say that Comcast is a reputable company?
Yeah, I believe both NBC and Comcast are great companies.
Well, that's where I disagree. Comcast has some shaky past actions in its recent history. For the past years alone, Comcast has continued to raise cable rates for its consumers. You're trying to tell me that this trend won't continue? Especially when they have an increased ability and incentive to raise rates? I disagree with you when you say that Comcast is a reputable company with consumer preferences in mind. I believe that Comcast doesn't care for its customers' opinions and will do anything and everything they can do to increase their profits.
Going off of what Mike said, Comcast will own a majority of the new company, so they will be held responsible for the company as a whole. Many customers in the market have had bad experiences with Comcast, which could push them away from NBCU. It is well known that Comcast is ranked amongst the lowest companies in terms of customer service. Comcast has also been on record lying to a federal agency about whether they blocked internet users' access to certain websites. Comcast has a history of lying and betrayal to their customers. So why should anyone trust them about the benefits that the merger will provide?
That is all well and good, but these are just opinions. Where are the facts? In a serious debate, in a situation such as this, we need to ground our opinions in facts. The merger can be the biggest thing that happened in the digital content industry, so we need to look at the numbers. It's not just about cable content, but also about the online video content, which is an increasingly viable and popular option for distributed content. Between Comcast and NBCU, they only own 32% of shares of a popular streaming site called Hulu, and a video site called Fancast. There are plenty of other options to choose from, including options provided by Google, which controls about 55% of online video viewing. In this aspect, no monopoly control by Comcast is even feasible.
Joe, video content is only a small portion of the market. Have you seen Bernie Sanders' opinion on this subject?
We have an exclusive interview with Bernie Sanders about the NBCU and Comcast merger.
I'm making this video because we are living in a time of excessive and dangerous media consolidation, and I would very much appreciate your helping me do something about that. Over the past few decades, the number of corporations that control what Americans see, hear, and read every day has shrunk dramatically through a series of mergers and acquisitions. We are now at the point where just a few massive media conglomerates control almost everything that you watch on TV, that you hear on the radio, or that you read in newspapers. These companies decide what voices are heard and what voices are silenced. They decide whether important measures get covered accurately or even whether these issues get covered at all. They can make these important decisions because they often own everything from production of content in the studio to the distribution of that content to your homes. And it looks as if things might be about to get worse. NBC Universal, one of the largest media conglomerates in the country, and Comcast, the largest cable television provider in America, want to join forces to control an even greater portion of the media industry. In order to smooth the waters, Comcast has doubled the amount of money they make in campaign contributions and have now contributed to 3/4 of the members of the House and half the Senate. The Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, is currently reviewing this proposed merger and is supposed to approve the deal only if it serves the public interest, convenience, and necessity. The NBC-Comcast merger clearly does not live up to that standard, and I've written the FCC to tell them to reject that merger.
You may be wondering how this all relates to economics, so let's put it in a supply and demand perspective. With the merge, Comcast will no longer have to pay for the rights of movies owned by NBC Universal. The two companies will be working with each other. By dodging this fee, the supply for movies will shift right as the change in resource prices goes down. The merge will put CNBC ahead of the game as demand for newer TV technology and content increases. The merge will cause a change in buyer taste, and the demand for the new content will increase. Well, that's all we have for our show tonight. So, what's your opinion on the issue? And we hope to see you next week on Hot Seat Economics.